Whoa, these are hot. These are hot mics. That's all right. I don't have a lot of energy today.
Mine's hot too?
Yeah, yours is fine.
You always muffle mine down so you sound better.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
You do.
No, I don't.
You know he does it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the fellowship. My name is Adam Hawk, and it is my distinct honor and privilege to announce to all of you listening right now that my co-host, Ryan J. Engle, a former pro surfer turned world-renowned surfboard shaper and the founder and owner of the Nation Golf Company at the tender age of just 43 years old, as of this weekend, has been named chairman of the Indian Wells Country Club Pow Wow. Talk about putting the wow in Pow Wow. We will talk more about this later on in the episode, but this, folks, is a big frickin' deal. My business partner and best friend was just handed the keys by the membership at his country club, one of the most important, iconic, and historically legendary clubs in the Coachella Valley, to take over as the chairman of the best and longest-running member guest tournament in the Palm Springs area. The club, which was founded by Desi Arnaz and hosted the Bob Hope Classic for 40 years and was home to Arnold Palmer's last win on the PGA Tour and was frequented by Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., and Dwight Eisenhower, now has Ryan Engle in charge and calling the shots for its beloved Pow Wow, which just wrapped up its 66th edition on Saturday. Pards, I got to tell you, it's hard for me as your friend to put into words how excited I am for you, but I have to imagine this is the honor of a lifetime.
And you'll love to hear it.
You really do.
Thank you for that. It is a massive honor. I think the thing that I'm most worried about is I can't kind of like skate around like we have the past couple seasons. When you lose the horse race, we go and take a schwitz in the men's locker room or peel out early to go to the pool or have the off night or not watch the guys come in for the Kachina shootout. I'm going to have to suck it up a little more, as they say, maybe suck them down a little less. That's kind of, despite the work, the thing I'm maybe not looking forward to the most is having to be on a little more throughout the week. And it's a long week. It takes it out of you. They feed you like you're on your deathbed. They serve you drinks like you're Dean Martin on a heater. You play golf like you're Tiger Woods in his prime, just range golf, range golf, range golf. It's just you got blisters, you've got ulcers, you've got gout.
We'll get into it because we are back from the Pow Wow, and we will recap it for the majority of the show. But the professional golf world demands, and rightfully so, just a few minutes of our time. So let's knock this out because there's no avoiding it. Scottie Scheffler and Nelly Korda are doing the world's greatest and most unexpected impression of early 2000s Tiger Woods and Annika Sorenstam. Just pure, unadulterated, simultaneous greatness and dominance on both tours. And there's really no way to put into words what we're seeing from both these supernovas at the same time. Nelly Korda just won her 5th start in a row yesterday, and no big deal. It was the LPGA's first major of the year. She is now just the 3rd LPGA Tour player to win 5 consecutive starts, the last 2 being Annika Sorenstam and Nancy Lopez. Look, full disclosure, I do not follow the women's game nearly close enough to have some super educated take. And I actually find it somewhat disingenuous when all these talking heads who haven't said a word about the LPGA Tour in their entire lives have their producers scramble for some research so they can sound like they know what they're talking about. I can admit right here, right now, I have seen exactly 0 shots from Nelly Korda's 5 straight wins. 0. So what am I going to say about her that has any meaning whatsoever?
Best swing in golf.
There's that. And I also will say this. I think the LPGA Tour is fighting the same battle that Live Golf is fighting right now. No one knows where or when to find the product. And that's a problem, and a problem that has to be addressed and solved by the powers that be. If you want me and everyone else to tune in, you got to beat me over the head with promotion on when and where to watch. I need that information. I need it often. With the PGA Tour, I don't have to think about anything. On Saturday and Sunday, I know that if I turn on CBS or NBC around 12 noon Pacific, I'm going to see men's golf. It's been that way my whole life. So the LPGA Tour has to start leading the horse to water over and over and over and over again until I know where I have to go to watch this, because I will watch. I promise you, I'll watch. I want to see Nelly Korda in action right now more than ever. So tell me where to go and when to be there, and do that sooner than later, because you have a unicorn in the palm of your hands, and those don't come around too often. Ryan, do you have anything to say about Nelly Korda?
She's amazing. Unfortunately for her and the rest of us, as far as the viewers go, and golf media, golf industry, golf fans, what have you, my take, Adam, thanks for asking, is, and this is actually good news, no matter how you want to stir it, but I think we're about a generation away from the LPGA starting to finally scratch the surface. And Nelly's going to be a major factor in influencing those young kids and golf fans of all colors, shapes, sizes, and backgrounds to become more involved. She's cool. She's getting recognized. She's on commercials. And it's going to influence the youth. It's now cool to be a golfer as a kid. Whereas, like, when I was a kid, the kids on the golf team were almost ashamed of it, especially the girls. They had these huge, baggy, pleated shorts. They didn't even like wearing them, you know. They'd hide in high school on the golf day matches when they'd have to wear their polos. It was shameful. Like, they were embarrassed to be golfers. And now it's like, it's getting cooler and cooler, and it's going to take a superstar like Nelly Korda to take it to that next level. Unfortunately for her, she's not going to reap the benefits as a player to see that tour finally reach the limelight. But I think that it's on its way. Big Nelly Korda guy over here. Big fan.
Good to hear, and very well said. Congrats to Nelly Korda on winning her 5th straight start and a major, which is nothing short of incredible.
Wait. Time out. Or as you like to say recently, full stop. Am I using it right? Probably not. Not a fan of the Chevron Championship jumping in the lake.
You think that should have stayed at Mission Hills?
Yeah, they're just copying. You can't take what they created at Poppy's Pond. You can't steal. You got to come up with something new.
Is there a difference between theft and an homage?
I get that it's an homage, but they left there with a little bit of a cloud. Dinah Shore was somebody, especially to women's golf. They're going to take what Dinah Shore created in Poppy's Pond and bring it to Texas and kind of not really give them the shine of it and the prestige. And they're going to show it side by side with people who won over there in Mission Hills in the past. Not a big fan of that.
I'd like to ask Amy Alcott her opinion, and I do see her around the SCGA. So I will ask Amy Alcott, the first female golfer to jump into Poppy's Pond at the Dinah Shore tournament course at Mission Hills, what she thinks of that.
She's going to tell you she loves it. Keep the tradition going, because when you're a pro's pro and you're a player's player, you also play politics really good too. You think you're going to get a Ryan Engle take out of her?
I've talked to her a few times. You'd be surprised.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
You'll love to hear it.
Yep. Next, this morning I woke up just in time to fire up the Peacock app and watch Scottie Scheffler tap in a bogey to win the RBC Heritage by 3 shots. This is just getting stupid at this point. It's his 2nd straight win for the 2nd time that he's gone back-to-back in 40 days. His 4th victory in 5 starts. And by the way, the one he didn't win in Houston, he missed getting into a playoff by a single shot. But the most impressive thing to me is that he won the week after winning the Masters. Who does that? Who wins the most important golf tournament in the world while their wife is 9 months pregnant with their first child, deals with the pressure of being the outright favorite, cashes it in, and then gets on a plane to South Carolina and does it again in a signature event with the world's best players and absolutely curb stomps them? Who has that in the tank? Who has that between the ears? Who has that in their hands? That's like running a marathon and being driven right back to the starting line to do it again and winning again in a game that doesn't think twice about embarrassing and humbling its very best players. We have Scottie Scheffler, who has won 4 of his last 5 starts, and Nelly Korda, who has gone 5 for 5. Combined, they are 9 for their last 10, and combined have 2 majors between them, and the golf season just started. What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on around here?
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
When was the last time a Masters champion played the next week?
My gosh.
I couldn't believe he showed up. Unbelievable. We had this thing in surf growing up where to be like really good, you'd have to charge a little bit, which means like you're not afraid to go for it when it's like high risk or, you know, aggressive conditions or aggressive break or something. Like some guys are good surfers, some guys are good big wave surfers, and other guys have that like charge gene. To have that whole package, that charge gene, you kind of have to have no fear. And most of the time when you have no fear, you got to be a little bit dumb. And I'm not saying that Scottie's dumb, but he's not plugged in to as much as the other guys are. And what he is plugged into is such a solid foundation. We got to see what happens with his childbirth, because if we get the same guy back after that experience, this tour and this golf world is in trouble, and they're not in trouble in the short term. They are in trouble for the long term. This guy just likes showing up, tying his laces, teeing it up, and winning trophies. It's unbelievable. He is just a machine that is unflappable and unaffected by all of the distractions out here, which is a crazy recipe for this day and age because there are so many distractions to be plugged into. There's no stopping this guy because what can stop him? You think people in the crowd are going to bum him out, or the media saying, oh, he's boring, or people on social media? He doesn't watch. He doesn't even have the chance to not give a shit. He's not even fucking looking. With the way he hits it, and you know he's just going to get better with the putter, there ain't nothing that's going to rattle him upstairs, and there ain't nobody that's going to bum him out. And if he's showing up a week after the Masters, he's not afraid to show up anywhere. We're at the beginning of an unbelievable run.
Let's get to the Pow Wow, folks. This is our recap. Strap in. It's going to be a long one. Many of you know that Engle and I are back from an absolute 4-day bender of nothing but world-class golf, world-class red meat, world-class booze, and world-class 95-degree desert sun. That's right, we just played in our 3rd consecutive Pow Wow together out at Indian Wells Country Club. The word zonked doesn't begin to do justice to how I am feeling right now. I am so damn tired that I would pay the Pow Wow entry fee of $2,290 to be granted the ability to sleep for 4 days straight.
Oh my God.
How are you feeling right now?
I am spent.
So it begs the question, and I will answer it, but it begs the question that I'm asking myself right now. Are vacations worth it? In 1982, the Go-Go's famously crooned the lyrics, "Vacation, all I ever wanted." In principle, I agree with that. In reality, I just don't know anymore. For me, it comes down to the bread ruining a great sandwich. The bread in the vacation sandwich sucks. Packing it up, setting an automatic email reply, working extra hard to get ahead so you can just try to relax a little bit, and having your wife always decide to get upset about your trip the night before you take it instead of the day you put it on the calendar 2 months ago. That's the top slice of a moldy, dry, hard piece of store brand vacation bread. Then your canines get past it and you sink into the juices of top tier deli meat, artisan cheese, crunchy fresh lettuce, top shelf aioli, and cracked peppercorn. You've arrived at your destination, you're on vacation, the party has started, and you have never been more delighted. This is the best part of the bite, and it lasts a while because the contents of a sandwich are always thicker than the bread. But then you're through the good stuff and you're into the bottom slice of the bread. It's time to go home, time to pack it up, which is always more cumbersome on the way back than the way in. You've lost valuable items you really need, but you sure as hell have a lot of new crap to jam into a bag that won't even zip shut. But that's the least of the worries, because now you're driving home, and instead of being high out of your mind on adrenaline like you were on the way out, you're falling asleep at the wheel, and you know the people waiting at home aren't half as excited to see you as you are to see them. But this is what I really hate about vacation and that bottom slice of bread. Vacation, by its very definition, is not a vacation. You didn't vacate anything. You just took a break. You merely pressed pause. And there's a massive price for pressing pause. because none of us in the United States ever press pause at the same time except for 4 days during Thanksgiving and a week for Christmas. And pressing pause when other people don't is like missing a credit card payment. Sure, it felt really good not to go into your pocket and peel off 500 big ones, but that payment isn't going anywhere. You're paying it back with a late fee and interest. And that, folks, in this incredibly drawn out and multi-layered analogy, is your first day back at work after vacation. Holy seventh layer of hellfire. Is there anything worse than the first day back after vacation? You have so many emails, so many projects, so many messages, so many things to catch up on. It's like everyone and their dog could feel it in the universe that you were off when they were on, and they couldn't wait to turn their problems into your Monday morning fire drill. I would rather check my bank account after a weekend in Vegas than check my email inbox a few days after taking work off. I swear to you, I don't even want to look. This is the bottom slice of bread in the vacation sandwich.
It's funny you said that, because I was just kind of going through the memory banks while you were having that incredible take, by the way.
Thank you.
The bread. And by the way, was it Mike's Way? Is that why the bottom half is so shitty and soggy?
Shout out Jersey Mike's.
Yeah, shout out Jersey Mike's.
They won't be sponsoring us anytime soon.
Yeah. When I was younger, and this is before the email days, and working for somebody, if it was like a surf trip or going to a contest or just a vacation in general, I always told friends, family, and bosses that I was getting home a day later than I was. And I always got home, put the boards away, ripped some laundry, just walked around the house naked, shuffling your tired toes through the shaggy carpet, eating a PB&J, just having the door shut, the blinds closed, the lights off. Leave me the fuck alone. Phone's going off, just ignore it. Ahead of my time.
This is the worst part of the bite of the vacation sandwich, is that bottom slice of bread. It's the kind of shit that has you reaching for your napkin to spit it out. And as soon as you eject that foul gruel from your mouth, the waiter comes out and says, "The chef sent you a freshly baked loaf of nothing but bottom slices from the vacation sandwich. Bon appetit, ya bitch." Yeah. That's the world I'm living in right now. Such a fun, memorable, amazing trip to the desert for the Pow Wow, and such a miserable crash landing back into reality. So, to the question, are vacations worth it? Is that mammoth overdue tab of real life something that you want to lean on a pen and sign for?
Yes.
In a word, yes.
Yes.
In 2 words, hell yes.
Hey, you got to pay to play, Dad.
You do. And remember this, kids. Write this down. Memories over memos, experiences over emails, people over projects. We will always have things we have to do, but it's the things we get to do that make this life worth living.
Amen.
It's impossible to pick a favorite part of the Pow Wow. We're talking about adult golf summer camp at a country club, 4 days, 72 holes, resort living, 9 meals shared with the same 80 guys in the same ballroom, and so many stories and so many laughs that your memory card is too full after the first night to store anything after. Let me tell you this, though. One of my favorite parts is the country club banter. The first and only language at a country club, the native tongue, if you will. It's all anyone speaks there, and you better be prepared because these dudes have been honing their craft for years. This isn't their first rodeo, and if you think memes and cart girl humor is funny, if you think YouTubers writing repetitive love letters to bagels with cream cheese from the front seat of their car is just top shelf knee slappers, you need to make friends with someone at a country club and get invited to their member guest.
Where do you have me on the Mount Rushmore of country club banter?
You're on it. For sure, if there's only 4 faces, it's you, it's Greg.
Greg Reed for sure.
Greg Reed, absolutely. Rick Waddell is in there.
Velarde is a fucking riot, dude.
Jorge Velarde is up there as well. Now, this is great because everyone we're speaking to has no idea who the hell we just mentioned, but I do want to say something about Greg Reed. We played with these 2 dudes in our opening format, Greg and his partner, Matt. Might as well have been Abbott and Costello. Funniest guys I have ever teed it up with. Second hole, and Matt just fans one off the box, 300 yards into the houses, and with some serious zip. The very definition of right going right. The thing is 30 yards OB, and the dude has the audacity to turn to his partner, Greg, and ask, "You think I could find that?" And without skipping a beat, Greg says, "Oh, yeah, sure, it'll be 10 feet from the dead guy."
It's not the fact that it's such a simple golf joke that I haven't heard before. It was his voice and delivery.
Yep.
and the speed in which he fired back. I tried that entire round to give him my best stuff.
Yep.
And although maybe could have ended up a draw had we kept score as far as whose was better, what was undeniable was the speed in which the comeback came. And I've never served to that quick of a return. I'll tell you what, I made a friend for life. I love that guy.
Absolutely. Next hole, 150-yard par 3. We're playing a two-man scramble format.
Oh, my God.
Matt blocks one right into the shit. Then Greg just stone-cold shanks a hosel rocket right, 3 feet off the ground, going 200 miles per hour on what we in the business like to call a lawsuit line, right into the side of someone's patio barbecue. Sounded like someone fired a buckshot in a tunnel.
For the folks listening at home, this is a two-man scramble at this point. So They're both out of sorts.
Out of sorts.
150-yard par 3, dead straight.
They're out of sorts, but no one was having more fun than them. Right when Greg's hosel struck his golf ball, he just goes, "Holy shit!" He was delighted and shocked at how bad he hit it.
Yeah.
These same legends made a 6 on that 150-yard par 3 in a two-man scramble. A 6, a triple bogey in a two-man scramble from 150 yards. That is impossibly bad golf, and they couldn't stop laughing.
Yep.
Next hole, you, Engle, rope a perfect 280-yard draw off the box with a 30-year-old 10-degree steelhead, and Greg goes, "Hey, man, where'd you get that relic?" And you're like, "eBay, $25. Not a millisecond of dead air, and Greg goes, "Who carries around that kind of cash?"
I mean, dude, it was the speed in which he threw the stuff out there.
Bang, bang, bang.
It was unbelievable. I've never seen a quicker draw. I know what I need to strive for.
That's how you play golf. You play to have fun and to laugh, and I thank those guys for that experience. So if you don't know what a member guest tournament is, it's essentially the world's greatest flex for any country club. It's a club's way to get one of their members to bring an outsider behind their gates and show off their property. And it's so much fun that, frankly, it should be illegal.
I don't know about you, but I am just pinching myself the whole time.
Yeah.
What part of my soul am I selling to the devil? Because this doesn't seem right. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here this long. I shouldn't be doing all this stuff to my body. I shouldn't be playing this much golf, and I shouldn't be having this much fun with all these people who shouldn't be here either.
So here's how it works, at least at the Pow Wow at Indian Wells. You show up Wednesday, you can play an optional practice round, which we did. You shower, you get changed, you go to the opening registration party, you get absolutely adorned in tea prizes, you see all the guys, you eat a tomahawk steak, you drink from the hosted bar, you walk around and make wagers with everyone, and you sit by the fire pit burning cigars for way too long. The event could end on the first night, and it would still be the best day of the year, but it doesn't.
It only gets worse.
Day 2, the tournament begins. You're flighted by your combined handicap with your partner, and you play 5 different 9-hole formats over the next 3 days. So we started with the two-man scramble and shot 4 under through the opening 9. Then we moved on to the shamble, which is where you take the best drive, play your own ball in from there, and write down the best score between you and your partner. 3 under for the kids on that 9. Side note real quick, Ryan Engle played his ass off. We're talking career golf. Totally carrying me, and he did this while fighting a wicked case of the Mississippi mudslides. Thankfully, we grabbed some Pepto on the way to the club on day 2.
Carried it with me in my pocket.
You did.
A lot of people noticed the kid showing up in the morning with the Pepto hanging out.
A lot of people were talking.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
I remember running into Albertsons and grabbing that for you and handing it to you and saying, you just got to fill up that little plastic cup and that's your dosage. And before I could even say it, you were just ripping chugs off the bottle.
Yeah, you told me, you said, that's enough, that's enough.
Yeah.
And boy, was it enough, because Plug City, USA.
It works, folks. It turns a running river into cement.
Yeah.
And you love to hear it.
Yeah, you really need it.
So it's lunchtime. All the scores go up on the board for everyone to see. And what do you know? The good guys are leading the flight. Now, what does it mean to win the flight? It means guaranteed entry into the 6th format on day 4, which is the playoff to get into the final 4. And it means a pretty good payday because we bought into the prize pool, plus we had other wagers going too. Now, after lunch on day 2, after we played our first 18 holes, we go back out for a horse race, which we lost on purpose.
Yeah.
Engle blew a putt because he didn't want to be out there anymore.
And no one believed me. Well, you believed me because I told you I was going to do it.
Yeah, you whispered, I'm missing this putt right. And then you missed the putt right. But you did it in such a fashion that it didn't look like you were throwing it.
Yeah.
Because that would not be becoming behavior.
I was golfed out 100%. And I was losing interest. I was tired. I was imagining us with the Schwitz.
Welcome to the Schwitz.
And getting our garb on for the party. I'd had enough.
Right.
And on top of it, I'm kind of looking into the future. And this was my last powwow that I could hide in the shadows a little bit. I peeled out on a number of things.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be able to do that for a long time. So that's why I did it.
So we lose the horse race on purpose. We get to the men's locker room for a Japanese bath and a Schwitz.
Welcome to the Schwitz.
Which is a cold pool to hot tub to cold pool to steam room to shower. Felt like $2 million after that.
Especially with a gallon of Panade aftershave citrus musk. I smelt like a drunk 1970s rooster. I even had the strut going up the stairs right to the ballroom, baby.
Speaking of upstairs, we go up there for another hosted bar party. Come home, hit the jacuzzi, smoke some Miller Lights, go to bed, and just cross your fingers that you aren't going to puke. And ladies and gentlemen, this is night 2 of a 4-day event.
Yeah, we were done.
Done. So now day 3 is here. We are zombie walking out the door. First format of the day is better ball, meaning we're each going to hit all our own shots, but we're taking the best score between the two of us. Thank God, because Ryan Engle's heater that started on Wednesday in the practice round continued into Friday. This guy shot 70 in the practice round Wednesday and was the biggest part of our 65 on Thursday, and he still had it cooking Friday. Piss missile draws off the box, consistent iron play, tidy chips, and putts that were throating the heart from 20 feet and in. So we went 2 under in better ball, but then the great equalizer, the Chapman format.
Oh my God, the Chapman really chaps you.
It's a chapped-ass format. Follow along with this Rubik's Cube if you can. Each player hits a drive. Then you have to play your partner's drive. Then you take the best second shot and play alternate shot in from there. It's confusing, and it's a bloodbath.
The only way I could play good in a Chapman is if I treated it like I was a put some headphones on me, don't tell me what's going on, and just tap my shoulder when it's my turn to go. Don't show me the scorecard. Don't show me the format. Just tell me when to hit. And I might be able to do it, but the way that my mind works kind of makes me feel that I should have been in that. Is that going to get in there?
We'll see.
It probably won't.
Probably won't.
Was it a good take, though?
It was a great take. Yeah.
See how I got it back around, too?
No, it was great.
I mean, come on.
That was perfect. You landed the plane. The problem was the plane is very problematic. To have this format as the 4th format on day 3 of the Pow Wow after 2 nights of heavy drinking in 95-degree heat, not fun. And to that point, I wasn't playing bad, but I wasn't contributing as much as I thought I would as a 12 handicap who shot a career 81 in the practice round. But this is where I really screwed my partner. In 9 holes of Chapman, where we have to play each other's drives, I didn't put a single tee shot in the fairway. Not one. And that's really all I needed to do in terms of pulling weight, because Ryan could have stuffed anything if I had set him up, but I didn't. And we slap-dicked it around and shot ourselves down into 4th place going into the final day.
1st to 4th.
Yep.
One format.
Now, Friday night is an off night, meaning the Pow Wow doesn't have any scheduled parties for us to attend. You eat lunch, you go home. And check this out, folks. We are dead on our feet. We're super tired. We're full of red meat and booze, and we're sun drunk. We've got this great pool house to ourselves and a jacuzzi, Miller Lights on ice. So what do? We drive 30 minutes downtown to Palm Springs for a steak dinner at LG's because this is Nation Golf.
We deserve it. Hardest 2 working guys in show business, folks.
You want to talk about overshooting your landing by 400 yards?
You know why it didn't go that good that night?
We didn't need it.
Sometimes you don't need to push. You just need to go with the flow. And we pushed a little too hard that night.
Saturday, final day, 4th place in the flight, 1 format left, 9 holes. We need to win our flight to get paid, need to stay in the top 4 to get into the playoff. And it happened, folks. Finally, the kid here, Adam Hawk, decided to show up. 4 net birdies, finally did something for the team, finally helped my partner out, and we ended up winning the net division of our flight, getting into the playoff for the 2nd year in a row, and cashing damn near $600. One problem. Now we have to go play 9 more holes.
The minute we shook hands with Joe and Matt in our final match of the regulation, we were convinced that we were out. And we went to lunch convinced that we were out. So our hats are off, the aftershave's on, tournament's over, so let's drink, let's eat, and now we can relax for 4.5 hours before the big party. And then when they're about to announce it, and we're looking at it doing math, and now I'm kind of trying to tell myself, you need to sober up, buddy. We went into the Pow Wow shootout out of sorts.
Yeah, but here's your idea of you need to sober up, buddy. You went straight to the cart and ripped an ice-cold fireball shot.
I know. And then I did fireball, rocks, with Irish whiskey.
I remember you offered a member a shot of fireball right before we were about to go out for the shootout. And the member, I wish I knew his name, said, the only time I say no is when someone asks if I've had enough.
Oh, man. I mean, put that in the book.
Right.
It never stops.
Right.
And then, so we go out there, and everything we said we were going to do, not as far as the actual play of golf, like our strategy, we didn't do any of it.
No, and I don't want to throw you under the bus because you had the greatest 3 days of golf.
I lost my game.
You had the greatest 3 days of golf I'd ever seen. But it was a shadow of itself the first 9 holes, and then when we got into the shootout, it was gone. And you got up to 11, excited to hit driver, and I think you drop kicked it 40 yards to the right.
I think it was dead straight, but it definitely was 40 yards.
Yeah. And then I got to it, and I couldn't advance it. I had the 7-wood out. I popped it up about 80 yards, and we made double, par, double.
Yeah. I wasn't in the luxury of purposely missing a putt in a derby and fucking driving away. We got 4 more holes to play.
And the worst part is the membership is out there. They're watching. And while everyone wants to see everyone do well, because of Ryan's age being much younger than the people that are there, and because of the tradition that he's bringing to this thing and the fact that he's following in his grandpa's footsteps and he's driving around in a classic cart, they really want to see you do well.
Yeah.
And that's tough to be going through what we were going through at that time. I mean, we had just played 63 holes of golf in 4 days.
And we sat for 2 hours.
We sat for 2 hours. We didn't want to play anymore, but we got in, and now we're playing. And I turned to you after I stone cold topped one like 50 feet on 17, and I said, I feel like an actor that has forgotten all of his lines, and there's still 2 acts left in this play. Get me off this stage.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. I can't put the club on a ball right now to save my life. And we were toast. We were done.
When that starts to happen, it's just the law of attraction. That old saying can go both ways. You hate to see it, but the good news is we lost. I wasn't the chairman yet, so we went back to the Japanese bath and then the Schwitz.
Welcome to the Schwitz.
Yep.
We got to relax, and we had some time on the perch, watched all the hardworking staff put the party together while we just sat there and
That's
drank.
true. Yep.
And then it was just an amazing night. The Pow Wow, the way it works, it's just a hard thing to win. It's a hard thing to get into the end, and then you got to do it, and then it's alternate shot in the end. And I think God was helping us get the hell out of there, because the trajectory we were going and the amount of gas we had in the tank, had we somehow luckily got some good bounces and found our way in that final 4, we would have embarrassed ourselves out there, I think, on 18. And that's in front of everybody. I'm happy that we only embarrassed ourselves in front of the few guys that wanted to follow us.
Let's tidy it up here. It's the final night of the Pow Wow. Big closing party. Hundreds of people there. A $10,000 fireworks show.
A lot of clubs out there do the end of the season party like this, but Indian Wells created it. It's what coined the phrase, the fun club of the desert. A lot of people forget about that. No one was having these huge parties where it wasn't the stuffy country club culture and attire. It was like a themed party, let your hair down, fireworks, all that stuff. They created that.
Mm-hmm.
It's special knowing that, and I think it's going to be a special opportunity to remind people about that.
So you've got an ice sculpture that has the number 66 on it, says Indian Wells. You've got oysters, clams, shrimp, lobster, steak, mashed potatoes, cheese macaroni, everything you could possibly want at your fingertips, plus an open hosted bar, plus a live band, plus Indian Wells broadcasting their logo up on the mountains. It's just unbelievable. Kids running around, adults running around, money changing hands.
All in the first fairway.
And everyone's stoked.
Yeah.
They made it to the end. And then Paul Cox, the greatest director of golf in the history of this great game, calls Ryan Engle up on stage and introduces him as the new chairman of the Pow Wow. This is a 66-year running tournament, the longest running member guest in the Valley. We talked about it at the top a little bit. We know that this is a big job, but you were kind of born for it. And the question I just want to ask you right now is, when your grandfather, the Smoking Tom, TK Lycan, took you out to Indian Wells Country Club, could you ever imagine a day in which you would be running the member guest? And part two, what would TK say?
Never would have imagined it. I've learned a valuable lesson in all of this, and it was the wholehearted love and passion I put into not only the tournament I was growing in my grandfather's honor in the Nation Desert Classic, and I've cherished this throughout our entire tenure there, that I've put that same excitement and love and passion and effort and energy into the relationship with the staff, whether that be the management. I've made lifelong friends over the years of people who have worked there. And the result of all that was my place there in the membership, and now snowballing into this opportunity. It's surreal. It's just a testament to, if you really honestly put your energy into something you love, it's gonna pay off. And it's not that you're doing it for the payoff. That's just the benefit of doing something honestly. I think I'm more proud about that than the position. It's just knowing that, wow, how do I implement this in other parts of my life, because it works. And it's not just working for me, it's working for that relationship with those people. It's working for the enjoyment and the benefit that the others get for being a part of it. It's a trickle-down effect, and it's infectious. It's a big reminder to someone like me who struggles with always trying to be more positive and in the moment and not let things bother me. And I'm just so grateful that I have that as a guiding light to remind me daily that if you just keep doing it that way, it's going to work out. I can only imagine that he'd be proud. He was a ringleader. He was the glue, just like I am in so many ways, but he was a quiet one. So I think he would have been impressed because I'm accomplishing things like he has, but I'm doing it my way, and I think he would have been happy to see that.
Couple of closing notes before we get out of here. I just have some notes on my phone that I want to go over. Shout out to Troy Kudlak and Aaron Seuss. They were great lunchroom companions to us. Great guys. They'll be at the Nation Desert Classic. Troy is a member out there. Great guy. And they had one hell of a powwow. They won their flight. They got to the Final Four. And Troy Kudlak cashed in on 2 or 3 different pari-mutuel bets. When he showed up to the final party, the check-in guys had 5 envelopes to hand him of cash.
And one of those was from us because he bet on us.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that. So shout out to Troy and Aaron. We're excited to see you guys. Steve Garvey, former LA Dodger, who is currently running for the Senate, is a member at Indian Wells Country Club. And his 2 sons, Ryan and Sean, played in it, and they were an absolute riot, Ryan and Sean.
Sean is classic.
Great guys, both of them. And Ryan is a talker, big-time talker.
Yeah.
And you love that. You love that from a guy. So we were at dinner at the final party, and we were sitting next to some dude from Mission Hills named Rob. Great guy, absolute great guy, but he's also a talker.
Yeah.
He can talk a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of people are talking.
You know what I loved about his talk?
Yeah.
Or his talking was the fact that he said, I don't like this stuff. I'd rather just be at home in a corner smoking a cigar. after like 45 minutes of listening to jaw jack at us, I was like, I think he likes it here.
Yeah. So Ryan Garvey comes over to talk to us with his brother Sean Garvey, and I introduce Ryan to Rob, which I shouldn't have done. That's unfair to both of them. They're talking back and forth, and they eventually get isolated. And you've seen this 100 times where someone gets stuck in a conversation they can't get out of, and it's just going on and on and on. And I've been in those conversations before. Well, they're talking for 30 minutes, and Sean says, I'm going to go back to my table now. And I said, okay, do me a favor. I accidentally introduced Ryan to Rob. He's stuck in a black hole right now. You need to bail your brother out. And he goes, boy, Adam, you don't know my brother because it's the other guy who's stuck in a black hole right now.
Classic.
So he just left his brother and went back to his table. So I wanted to shout out the Garvey kids. I also wanted to say my favorite alert I got on my phone when I got home was that my screen time last week was down 68%.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Amazing. You just don't look at your phone when you're out there.
Yeah.
This is what life should be.
It's great to put the phone down, to shake some hands, to clank some glasses, and to just do it how you should be doing it.
Final question of the podcast for you. We were in the men's locker room. You've got your own locker there. I was stealing from an unlocked one that was on the other side of yours. So there's lockers between us where we can't see each other. And there's a lot of changing going on, in and out of golf clothes, in and out of swim trunks for the Japanese bath and the schwitz.
Welcome to the Schwitz.
You turned the corner on the last day, and I had my swim trunks at my ankles. I was full frontal, and I just got a question. Did you see my crank?
I did it.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I mean, one thing you learn in the country club culture, and here's a tip from the tip, literally. You walk around a men's locker room and you're always eye level. You keep your head up. You never look down. I don't care if there's some shoes on the floors distracting you, because God knows you're just one turn of a corner away from a Greek statue that you don't want to look in the face.
Yeah.
So, I didn't see your little winky. Everything's all good. I'm sure I wouldn't have been impressed anyways.
I was about to tell you, we had just gotten out of the cold pool. Would have been unfair.
Yeah.
So I was a little self-conscious if you'd seen my crank or not. We were also just outside the locker room sitting where the card tables were, waiting one night, and you had your back to the locker room. I was facing you, and right over your shoulder, and again, I'm not eye level because I'm sitting in a chair, right over your shoulder, some 85-year-old dude with his crank flapping in the wind walked right behind you.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about a face full of hog.
Nice. A little bowl of oatmeal.
And ain't that the truth?
You want bananas and raisins in your oatmeal?
All right, so 2 weeks until the Nation Desert Classic. I can't believe we're turning around and going right back out there.
It's not fair. It's not real.
You guys can keep Thanksgiving and Christmas. We just ran the Masters into the Pow Wow, now into the Nation Desert Classic.
I mean, what else are we going to do this year?
Come on.
Does anything matter?
Does anything count?
Nope.
Folks, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for indulging us. We hope you enjoyed this recap. We will talk to you next Monday.